Hello and welcome. This is a video for the Kick Bounty for their newly released API. So excited for them to finally release an API. Just a slight disclaimer, I only found out about this about a week and a half ago. So everything you see here was developed in a week and a half. I haven't had much sleep and I think I've got a cold, so I apologise for the quality of this video. Let's get into it. In this video we're going to be showing off the StreamRoller extension for Kick. So using the Kick API to extend another software's features. You can think of an extension in this case as like a game mod where people write mods for games. In this case, you write extensions for some software called StreamRoller. Let's get started. So the first thing we've got is StreamRoller. So if I bring up StreamRoller, what is StreamRoller? StreamRoller is a web server that runs locally on your local host machine. It provides a common API via WebSockets to all these different extensions. Each one of these things down the right hand side is an extension, including this page itself. It's just a web page extension. The idea with StreamRoller is to have a single page on your second monitor that can control everything to do with streaming. The second goal of it is to allow you to connect anything to anything else regards for your streaming. So if you have an idea when streaming that I want the users to be able to turn my lights on and off, or when somebody donates or follows, I want it to change filters on OBS, or I want it to spawn this mob in this game. The way you'd normally currently do that is most people will write a bot that connects those two APIs together. What StreamRoller does, it sits in the middle. If you've already got a Kick extension, there's the Kick extension there. It means anything else in StreamRoller can talk to that directly. So it kind of simplifies the ability for developers to use the Kick API because they don't have to worry about logging in, authorization. Each one of these extensions can talk to any other extension. The way it works is there is a set of triggers and actions. I couldn't think of a better name, so I call them triggers and actions. An extension will provide. So the Kick extension will provide triggers, which are this has happened, i.e. somebody sent a chat message, somebody followed. Whatever their API can provide, it will also provide a set of actions like send a message to chat, change the title, change the category of the stream. Now, once you've got those triggers and actions, these can be used and linked to any other trigger and action in the system. So, for instance, with Kick, we have also this chatbot extension. So now using the Kick API, let's go to the autopilot page, which is where the real control happens. So on this autopilot page, this is going to look quite complicated to start with. It's actually relatively simple once you get over the really badly designed UI. I need to revamp this. So on this page, this is where we set up the power. We've got triggers on the left, we've got actions on the right. There's 5.8 million plus individual options. We say we get a Kick chat message. StreamRoller contains an AI chatbot running off OpenAI's ChatGPT. And all they need to do is set up a single trigger here. We're saying, when we get a chat message, I want to send it over to chatbot. Process chat message. You want to take whatever comes in the message field on the API and you want to put it into the message field on this side, and what that will do is it will say whenever we get a message in, send that message to chatbot. So in fact it's even in my drop down. So by simply adding that, and we want the sender as well, and I guess we should put the platform in. So by simply adding those three things, and the message here is copied, the double percentage says take this is a variable, take the filled message from over here and just paste it into this action. And then when any Kick message comes in, that will trigger and send it off the chatbot. Now I've already got this one in, so what you'd normally do is just click update, that would add that trigger action pair in. I think if we scroll down, we've got it here. So Kick message received. So if we go and look at that in action, let me bring up, I'm already logged on to Kick on my bot and user accounts here at the moment for test purposes. I'm going to have to explain a little bit how the chatbot works to show you this in action. So chatbot itself has different triggers. So if you're not a native English speaker, now with that one trigger in action, if I was German, for instance, and I wanted to say something which I'm not good at typing, I'm not a native English speaker, I could just put a message in which says to ENG and then put my German, whatever I'm talking in, hit return. That will go off to ChatGPT. ChatGPT will respond with a message. Nice to see that you're streaming with the new Kick API. That's what the translation of that German is. That's one of the ChatGPT functions. Another one, like I said, is if you mention him in a sentence, such as say, how are you today, Marvin? Because Marvin is the name of my bot. My chat bot, it's all got personalities as well. So I don't want to go too much into this because it's getting away from Kick, but the chat bot with a single or couple of sentences, you describe the personality you want your bot to be, and then you put in 4 question answers, give examples of how to respond, and it will respond in that manner. So this bot will respond as if it's Marvin the paranoid android from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, basically. How are you doing today? What do you think of my Kick stream? That gets sent off to ChatGPT. Because now we've got the Kick API can read the chat messages. We put that trigger and action in. So anything I type in goes off to the Kick extension. Anything that comes out the Kick extension as a chat message trigger we put a trigger and action in to send that off to Chatbot. So this is the response from ChatGPT. So that's an example of, with one single trigger and action, the Kick API that actually I think we used to. There is a second trigger in for when the Chatbot responds to post that back. So there's 2 triggers for this. I didn't show the other one. Right, where is it? Kick Chatbot. Somewhere in here there's a chat message received. There's a second trigger actually already in here. So I've got a second trigger, and we'll quickly show this, where if I type search for game and a game name, that gets sent to the Kick action, search for game. That then posts off to the Kick API. That will say to Kick API, give me all of these names of categories and games with this name in it. That then gets sent back to Kick extension. The Kick extension then fires off a trigger going, hey, someone just performed a search and here's the result. So if I do, what did I call it? Search for game, and then let's do Elite Dangerous. The Kick API extension performs the search and posts back another trigger saying, hey, these are the results from a search that somebody just did. This action here fired, and it posted the category. This is a list from the API that when we did a search for categories with the word elite in it. So in terms of the quiz, this is doing the same thing. We should see that happen. Here we go. Because of how they are paid, what Hollywood professionals known as 10%ers. And it gives you a hint, the answer. You do exclamation mark answer 66. Answer is talent agents. When we do that, it's the same as the one we just done. It then sends a message back saying, hey, miserable Marvin, talent agents is correct, well done. And then it starts another question. So let's have a look. What can we do in terms of interesting stuff? So let's say chat controlling my OBS. Let's add in a new trigger. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, when I get a Kick chat message, change filter. Once again, these are all very simple examples. I've got a filter called test filter 1. We want to turn it on. We'll do true. That's what we're expecting them to type in. We don't want that in there. We want it in here. So we want to take whatever they type in. They can type in the name of the filter. So then from the Kick chat message, I simply get to the OBS extension, toggle filter, the filter name. I'm going to do %% message. I want the second word. They'll type in change filter, the name of a filter, and then whether to turn it on or off. So on or off, we take message, third word. And that's what we want to do. So let's put that into Kick testing, update that. When we receive a chat message, change filter. So if we do it, and if you can see that it's turned that filter on in OBS. And if I set it to false, it turns it off again. In order to give the viewer the ability to control things that are going on, all it took was one trigger and action. From now on, now obviously this goes a lot further, because once the Kick API extends itself, you'll be able to do subs, follows, channel points if we have them, whatever else they put in there, we'll be able to control it. This is the last bit. Quick settings, you can enable and disable to turn on and off the extension. We have a title box, which you can change your title and click update. Any titles you set will get remembered, so you can simply just click on the list here, the history list here of your previous titles. Click update, it'll update your title. Clear the history list out if it gets too long. The same for the game categories. We've got Oh, there's the search we did earlier. When I did a search for Elite, it populates this with a search, which you can do down the bottom. So if I then search for something else like satisfactory, I want to be able to change category to that. The first time, it'll put it in the search results. If I then do an update, it will change well, if you're on Kick at the moment, you'll see my categories changed. But what it also does, it now puts it in the history list. And the search results has disappeared. So if we now search for Elite again, or I'd use Elite because it's got a lot of respondents. It gives us a search results of Elite. We pick the game we want. So say Elite Dangerous Odyssey, update to that. Over on Kick, our channel's just changed again. And then in here, we've now got a history. I only found out about this a week and a half ago, so there's still a few little bugs in this, like an empty blank line at the top. But yeah, then if I want to change back to satisfactory now, I just click on satisfactory, update. We have got macro buttons here, so I can map these macro buttons. So what we can do under the autopilot, we can create buttons which we could then map. So if you've got a particular title or category that you switch between a lot and you don't want to go in and pick the drop-down list, you could set up some icons. That's another use of the API. But once you've got the API in, like I said, any of these extensions now have access to the Kick API. To do it from Kick on this side, when I get a chat message in Kick, I know, let's imagine title changed is we've had a raid or we've had a big donation. When they add that to the Kick API, I could go over to here and say, oh, go and post a tweet about it, and copy the data across and go, oh, post a tweet when I get a raid saying, hey, so-and-so just raided me with X hundred viewers. Why don't you come in and say hi to them? Or so-and-so just donated. Why don't you come in and say hi to them? So you can trigger a tweet. Obviously, this is going to expand as they expand the Kick API. I think my network just died. Back up again. I think my network went down briefly. That's the Kick extension. With this, it now gives you an option of turning the Kick API into what do you want your Kick users to be able to do? What do you want to do with your Kick users? You can move stuff around on OBS. You can have Kick users hide your camera, show your camera. Now we've got Kick in these lists. It now gives the API access to 5.8 million possible combinations of triggers and actions. This is currently available, and I'll put a link in the description. This is the first version. It will be improved and expanded on over the coming days, weeks, and months. Thank you for watching.